It's Tuesday, which means I gotta do a tag today. And thankfully, I have been tagged by the Mild Rumpus to do a this or that tag, which is for People April. It's an event that's been happening in April, hosted by Ross from Scallydanding About the Book and Elizabeth from Boquin's Books. These two are the original creators of this tag also. This is a this or that tag specifically for memoirs. And when I first looked at it, I was like, there's no way I can choose. So then I decided to do it kind of like a rapid fire and just pick the first thing that felt okay, if that makes sense. So we'll see how that goes. I went through them when I printed off this paper and chose what jumped out at me as my first gut feeling reaction choice, if that makes sense. Okay, so the first question is, big, fat, and detailed biographies or short and succinct biographies? I think I'm leaning toward big, fat, and detailed. I feel like that's mostly what I've read. I'm sure I've read short ones too. Short ones are awesome also, but I do kind of like the detail when it comes to somebody's life and find that I enjoy it. It doesn't matter how long it is. I've read a lot of huge ones. Celebrity memoirs or average Joe memoirs? I think I lean towards celebrity in this one. Those are the ones I've mostly read, because why do they have such fascinating lives? They make most of it up, right? Or is it interesting because you realize that celebrities are normal people underneath all of it? I don't know. But like I said, I enjoy the average Joe stories also. Number 3, complete correspondence or selected letters. I am not familiar with this one. I don't think I've read anything that's just a collection of letters. My gut reaction choice would be selected letters, so that you weed out the letters that don't have anything to do with the person's story or life or whatever. But I really love letters, so I should try to find one of these collections and see what I think, because I really don't know. But memoirs written when the events are fresh or memoirs written with hindsight? So my first reaction would be to say hindsight, because then you can see the person's reflection on whatever's gone on, what they've learned from it, or how they've grown from it, or something like that. Gossipy biographies or scholarly biographies? I lean towards scholarly, I think, because I like I don't even know what scholarly means. I like the research behind something. I like learning something. But gossipy is a lot of fun. I don't have examples for all these like the Mild Rumpus did, but someday I'm gonna go downstairs and show you my nonfiction shelf, and we'll see what's on there at that point. I don't even remember what I have. Diaries of ordinary life or diaries of extraordinary events? So for this one, I could not choose. I say both. I love diaries. I love reading diaries. I don't care whose it is. Diaries are awesome. And even if it's about somebody's boring life, I would find it fascinating, especially if it's in a different time period or something. So yeah, I can't choose on this one. I like both. Arty memoirs or sporting memoirs? Okay, this one was easy. Arty for sure. Who wants to learn about sporty stuff? This is probably why I had a bit of a problem with the whole Carrie Soto is Back book. Not a huge sporty fan, although I am sure that if I read somebody's fascinating sports story, I would enjoy it. Have I read a fascinating sports story? I probably have read somebody's memoir biography that has to do with sports, but I can't really think of one right now. Gritty autobiographical writing or inspirational autobiographical writing? So I lean toward the inspirational on this one, as long as it's not too sappy inspirational. I like feel-good stories and heartwarming stories and happy stories. And gritty sometimes feels like somebody's trying to be too gritty, like it's not genuine. Depends, but that's my usual initial reaction to grittiness, especially in an autobiographical setting. Biographies of historical figures or biographies of contemporary figures? I'm saying historical on this one because I love history, but this was a hard one too because I really truly love both. My gut reaction was to say historical, because is that mostly what I know? I've read contemporary ones lately too. I do both people. It's hard. This one I didn't even answer. Memoirs of happy days or memoirs of tragic days? So a minute ago, I said I loved happy feel-good stories. So I kind of lean towards the happy, although I know tragic stories are the ones that have the good stories, but I'm always complaining about how we need more happy stories. And sometimes we need, like every book I read lately, I feel like it's somebody dealing with a death of some kind. And I'm like, is there not a story unless we've got some trauma somebody's trying to overcome? I feel like there should be other stories out there that aren't necessarily tragic. But I know that people aren't going to be writing memoirs of their perfectly happy lives either. Memoirs exist because somebody has some sort of tragic story to tell, or some trauma, or some drama, or something. So I understand the problem here, but I do love a good, happy, heartwarming, feel-good story. And that's the end of that. I went through that real fast. I just wanted to make this a fast one because today is Tuesday and I want to hurry and put it up. Not much editing, and just quickly go through it. And I'm sorry I don't have examples. Like I said, someday we'll go down and see what memoirs I actually have on my shelf. This made me realize that I truly love memoirs and biographies and autobiographies of pretty much any kind. I should read more of them. Until next time, happy reading, bye!